with red hot stories from post game, interviews, analysis, defend the hour, right here at the Growler.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of the Walkout Training Camp Recaps Day 6. Paul Dehner Jr., Jay Morrison back inside the Bengals press conference room after it wasn't just Day 6, Trey Day.
Yeah.
Trey Day here at Paycor Stadium, where Trey Hendrickson returns and all that comes with it. There was Hat Watch Day 1, Part 2, right?
Yes.
Last year we had Hat Watch with Jamar Chase. Hat Watch is going to be back with Trey Hendrickson. We've gone from holdout to hold in with the Hendrickson situation, but so it goes, like sands through the hourglass.
Yes. These are the trays of our lives.
Yes.
All of our lives.
Yeah, all of our lives. Let's do it. Let's open takeaway, right? We're going to give you a takeaway and a play, the thing they say from today, but the takeaway has to start with Trey.
Yeah, for me, it was when it was reported that he was going to show up today. I think there was a lot of excitement that, it must mean they're close. I think it's the opposite. I think they're not close, and he doesn't want to keep getting fined $50,000 a day to be sitting out when it's going to take a while for this to get done. And he said too that if he stayed away, it would have been a selfish act, that he can be here for his teammates and help them along. Shamar Stewart in particular, he was talking to him quite a bit today during practice. But, Trey basically said nothing has changed. They are not any closer to a deal. But I think the one good thing is, he said that both sides agree he's not going to play this year on his current contract. So I think there's confidence there. It's going to get done, but soon, I think what we said on the pod yesterday, Labor Day still feels like a very real possibility.
Yeah, I think the more things change, the more they seem the same here. I think there still is a feeling of inevitability to this getting done. There's just too much. Everyone is worse off if they don't get it done. Right. Trey being a year older, a year removed from his great season that he's had, the Bengals not wanting to invest in someone a year older, the Bengals fast start that they need to get that done, to have Trey on the field, their lack of pass rush options beyond him, what he kind of means to that group. All of that suggests they find a way. To me, it's the Jamar Chase playbook here. Mm-hmm. It's not just Hat Watch Part 2. It's Jamar Chase playbook. It is, I don't want to be a distraction, but it's hard when you inherently are a distraction when you're here. He doesn't want to be fined. I get it. $50,000 a day. That's a lot of money.
It is. Not waivable.
Yeah. Look, $50,000. Hey, look, to stand and watch practice, people would probably pay to watch practice, much less save $50,000 every day. But the inevitability of this is that you can stand on the side, being present. It's better to be in front of everyone rather than to be out of sight, out of mind, and to be taking on the fines. That part, I just don't think made sense. Hold out didn't make sense. Hold in does make sense. I don't know if he can really accomplish his goal. I think it's admirable to say, I want to be here and be a leader and be a mentor and not be a distraction, and also kind of put pressure on the organization and get some guarantees coming my way. I don't know that those two things work together.
Yeah.
But you know what? I do think he's trying to take on the right approach. And I just think when you look at where it's at, the progress that has been made and where they need to get to and how they always seem to come to a compromise, movement will happen just like it did with Jamar, even though that deal didn't get done. Movement happened the same way it always does. I'm with you. I don't feel like this has changed anything in the way I view this process, where I think it ends. It's just that Trey's here now and he's talking again.
Yeah, and then he can avoid being a distraction because he said, get it while you can, because I'm not going to be talking to you guys anymore. I'm going to go back to the way it's been the last 4 years where he rarely talks. But still, just him being on the field, not practicing, naturally will be somewhat of a distraction.
All right, let's get back into the actual stuff that happened on the field today during a pretty busy day. A lot of team, a lot of like real live stuff going on out there. So it was a full day. What was your play today?
So my play was, there was a few. I know you're going to go with one. So I'll skip that one. But I for my play of the day, for my daily camp recap that up on SI.com, I was going back and forth. I settled on Andrei Iosivas had this one-handed catch from Joe Burrow up the seam Josh Newton was draped on him. It was good coverage. The only way that ball is completed is if he makes that catch. And it's always eye-popping to see a one-handed catch, but you have to go back and think of all this progress that Yoshi has made, being a better route runner and the trust establishment with Burrow and all that. He still had some hand issues last year. He had 5 drops last year, some critical ones. One in that Kansas City game, I remember for sure. So that's a big deal to see him pull that ball down one-handed. That was a good sign, and it was a heck of a play. It was in 11 on 11, and again, he was draped by Josh Newton.
Yeah. Mine involves Josh Newton, who you just talked about. I'm going to bring you this play right here. It was the first interception of Joe Burrow over the course of this entire training camp. You watch, it's supposed to be an into T. Higgins. Josh Newton goes up and pulls it down. He's in the right place. A little bit of a Burrow and Higgins not quite being on the same page out of that break. But guess who's right there? Yeah. Guess who's in the right spot? Guess who makes the play? I'm not trying to turn this into the Josh Newton fan club podcast because I know it kind of feels we have been talking about him a lot. But I think that's because on and off the field, he's been making impressions a lot. And you see him out there. And I would say it kind of goes along with we're seeing DJ Turner push down the depth chart. He's running with the 2s and even kind of the 3s in some points of the practice today. And meanwhile, Josh Newton out there, the exact opposite, making more plays. Another notch in the belt for Fig.
And you say it, T and Joe Burrow not really on the same page on that route out of the break. But it wasn't like the ball just hit Josh in the gut. He had to go up and get that. It was a heck of a catch. And just the fact that it's the first interception of camp, great choice for play of the day.
Absolutely. What do you got on a thing they say?
So a thing we say, we talked to Scott Peters after the offensive line coach after practice. I think you asked him about the next step from Amarius Mims. And he said the thing he has to understand, you've got to be greedy about how good you want to be. And that was kind of, he said a lot of young players – extremely talented players fall into the trap of complacency, especially after a rookie year that goes pretty well. He said that's not the case with Amarius, that he does have what he needs, but he expanded on it some more. I just thought it was some really good quotes. He said the biggest thing for him is the mentality. You should understand that you have to dominate people. You can get away with a lot of things when you're a huge, massive human that moves well and is stronger than everybody. Most of these guys were like that growing up. Well, it ain't working here. Some of it might work here on occasion, but we've got to be great every time. It's batting 1,000. It's really being on point. And I think that just kind of, it's good to hear for Amarius. It's good to hear from Scott Peters about the standard that's being set, that, it's not good enough just to slow these guys down. You need to dominate, especially when you're in a division with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett and all these great pass rushers that they see. I just thought that was one of the things that stood out. We had about 9 minutes with Scott Peters. He was really good.
One other thing that he said about Amarius that I thought was really interesting was talking about, he also needs to be out there. This is a guy that didn't play a ton in college, and then last year didn't play through the whole season, had some injury stuff, wasn't always out there. We remember the thing on the sideline with Frank Pollock, I think, where there was some want you to be in there, you're not in there, not knowing how much you can actually do when you push yourself to play through the pain, and pointing out that no matter what, they need him out on the field. It felt like a push of you've got to play through stuff more often. You've got to know what you can play through and what 80% of Amarius is compared to most of the rest of the people out here, and that they need that from him. You could really feel that in this on a day where Amarius notably wasn't in for the end portion of practice, talking about something with his hand was sort of how it was referenced. Didn't sound serious at all, but that's how it was discussed in there. And I think that's going to be a thing is Amarius going to be able to know that his presence being out there, he's got to be able to push through pain more often. He's got to understand that he's got to play through stuff. And that was another part of his message that I thought was really interesting. Mine is going to be from Jordan Battle. And it's going to be a thing that they say, you're going to hear what he had to say on a play that he made right in front of us in the low red zone, breaking up a pass with Jamar Chase. Yep. There's Jordan Battle. You can hear Jordan Battle as he is getting in the face of Jamar Chase after making a great play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that Jordan Battle being able to make a play against Jamar Chase in any situation is a great sign for where he's at. A real important mark for, I think, a lot of the confidence that you're seeing coming from this defense, something that you've heard from us a little bit on repeat in these daily camp recaps. But that confidence, we've talked about them needing leaders and them needing to find, they've lost all the captains and all this. They're looking for energy and leadership. And you hear Jamar Chase getting it from Jordan Battle, who's trying to create that energy. And he says, that's just me. That's from the place within, and that's to get everybody fired up. And he talked about an understanding that is who he's going to be. And he's told everybody. You talked about him telling Mike Gesicki that the other day.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk every day because he understands that's part of the role he needs to be playing as they search for new leaders and new energy on this defense. Jordan Battle creating it and doing it even when it's Jamar Chase he's getting in the face of, does not care, ready to get up there and get in his face after making a play. I thought that was notable and kind of an example of some of the energy you're seeing from this defense right now.
Yeah, and so yesterday or 2 days ago in the bubble, was it yesterday? There's weird acoustics in the bubble where you can hear things you wouldn't normally hear. Voices come over, and I could hear Jordan Battle all day and yelling things out after plays. We talked about it. We weren't that close at all. We couldn't see. You could hear that his voice. And one other thing real quick, the play after the Jordan Battle one was that play that no team in the league can stop, where the little quick out timing to Jamar at the front pylon. Cam Taylor-Britt, PBU, broke it up. The Bengals defense can stop it. They know when it's coming. That was back-to-back really impressive plays, again, by the defense in the red zone.
No question. All right. Another low red winner for the Bengals and another day recap for us. Trey Day is in the books. I think we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same YouTube channel. Make sure you're getting the alerts from us so you know when we post these things, and we'll bring you everything from that. Saturday night, there is a night practice. I'll have Charlie's going to be stepping into the chair for Jay as we'll talk about what we see at the night practice. If we see any of you out there, make sure you say hello. We always love seeing you out there, and keep it locked to us as we keep on rolling through training camp. Have a good one, everybody.